No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
How we doing? Good morning and Merry Christmas Eve to everyone here in Bronco Nation. My name is BJ Rains. This is a live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here on the social media channels of Bronco Nation News and BroncoNationNews.com. Special Christmas Eve edition. I know some of you are working, some of you are off, but just had a ton of Boise State stuff going on. Wanted to make sure we had a chance to discuss that and get to that. And we do that as we do every Tuesday and Friday with our man Jay Tust, sports director over at KTVB. I guess I'm not as nice as the bosses over at KTVB, Jay, but appreciate you on Christmas Eve for jumping on for a few minutes. How we doing?
Apparently, man, I got presents to wrap. I got places to be, things to do. What's going on here, man? Cracking the whip.
There was probably a Tuesday or Friday where I gave you off at some point that or you left early because your computer battery died or something that evened out, I think, for a half an hour here on Christmas Eve where we can.
I don't think our shows ever end early because we got so much to talk about, especially today, my friend.
I did wrestle with it. I know our friends Johnny and Prater are off today and tomorrow, and I was like, what? I'm paying myself. Do we really need to do a show today? But I thought just the Malik Sherrod and some of the other stuff won't be timely in a couple of days. And I thought, you know what, maybe that it's before the day is really getting going. We'll knock it out for a little bit. And so I do appreciate Jay publicly for jumping on. They're liking the Christmas. I was trying to find a Santa hat. The problem is the only one I found was apparently my kids because I have a huge head and it wouldn't fit on my head. So no Santa hat today, unfortunately, Jay.
You gotta save that for tonight, man.
Yes. Well, we actually have my mom and dad and my brother and his wife visiting right now. And my brother and his wife are leaving pretty early tomorrow morning. So we're actually kind of treating today like Christmas because they got to get back to see some other families. So we'll be doing a lot of the Christmas traditions, including opening the gifts and most of the gifts and things today. We'll see if Santa Claus comes overnight at some point. But fun time of year, Jay. Always a fun time of year. Excited for Christmas and what's coming here. But 1 week from today. I was
Man.
kind of doing the math and looking at it. I mean, we are 1 week from game day, which is another reason why I kind of wanted to make sure we did something today, because it is it's coming fast and furious, and the players are all dispersed. They headed out of town last night after practice, and they'll get today off and tomorrow off. And I saw Notre Dame's coach did not give time off. They're staying together, and he kind of rallied around that and said it's an honor to spend Christmas with these guys. So coaches are treating this differently. Penn State got a couple of days off. They'll come back on Christmas Day. But Boise State, the way it worked out in their calendar, they don't practice on Sundays of game week anyway. So they were able to take today and tomorrow off, and they'll all come back Monday, fly back on Monday, and have their normal Monday practice on Thursday. I guess it is Thursday night, the 26th, and get going. So the calendar worked out pretty nicely for Boise State to get a couple of days off, and they got the 2 practices in on Penn State, got up to speed a little bit on them, and then kind of bonus practices, I guess, and then they get back from Christmas, and there'll be a normal Monday night practice, and it's go time.
Yeah, and because they found out who they were playing, last week or over the weekend, they've had a couple of extra days, right? So this really is, for the most part, a typical game week with just that one extra day off, if you will. But it's not like they're missing any prep time. And I think the thing that I like about this, and I think that you've seen, I honestly, you've seen different coaches deviate from it in the past. Just because it's a big game doesn't mean you change what you do, right? And I think what has become a hallmark of Spencer Danielson's era at Boise State is that whether it be his coaches or his players or heck, even his support staff, all that stuff, he believes in autonomy and guys, trusting guys to do their jobs. And so just because they're playing in a big game, why necessarily change that? And he also lives it out in action, in the sense that, what did he tell us every single week? The next game's the most important one because it's the next one. Every game's a championship game. We've been playing championship games for weeks now. And so I think that, by staying in that routine, trusting the process and things like that, I think that he stays on brand and on message, and he doesn't subconsciously send, a different type of message to his team about this game. So go out there, play free, play loose, let it fly. These guys will be prepared. They've had some extra time off to do so. And, as we kind of alluded to even last week before the Penn State SMU game, BJ, they had already spent a couple of days on Penn State. And as it turns out, now that the game is over, they accurately kind of, I guess, measured or predicted how that one would go, because they picked and choose to prep for Penn State before SMU and maybe even spend a little more time on Penn State. And it just kind of worked out in their favor that's how it played out. Yeah,
no doubt. And so we'll, there's a lot going on with the game and the matchup and all that. And I want to hear a quote from Spencer Danielson in a minute, but a couple of newsy items that have happened in the last couple of days. You hinted right here on this program, Jay, last week at some point, had folks talking. You said it was a Mountain West running back, and I saw folks guessing about the Wyoming running back and everybody else, and there wasn't a lot of guesses, at least initially, on Sherrod. But Malik Sherrod, the Fresno State running back, commits to Boise State and had a really great 2023 season, almost 1,000 yards rushing, over 1,200 scrimmage yards. Wasn't really able to stay healthy, decided to redshirt, playing in the 4 games last year. So he comes in with a year of eligibility left, and he's a big-time kick returner, punt returner. I think had a kick return touchdown, maybe for a touchdown against Boise State in the one of the Indy Avalos games a couple years ago.
He was the guy, BJ. He was the guy.
The kick return, punt return game could be, especially kick return, could be a big deal. But he'll also be a veteran addition to the running back. And you called this. You saw this coming a week or two ago, the connection with James Montgomery, and obviously an intriguing addition to the roster.
We talked about it on the way back from New York, and I think it's an awesome addition, man. And I know that you agree with me because we already talked about it. So it's a veteran presence in that running back room, which I think is a big deal. I don't think anybody needs to jump to conclusion about the current players in the stable or in Boise State's running back room. Like I don't think that this really changes a ton. Like Sire Gaines is RB1. Like he is. Like Malik Sherrod's going to come in and he'll be RB1B or whatever. And maybe it's probably unnecessary to even label that right now. I just think Sire he's the future. He is the guy. He'll be a redshirt freshman next year, and it'll be his job for as long as he probably wants it. But Malik Sherrod can come in and give something Boise State really didn't have this year, and that is a reliable guy to come in and complement your starting running back. He, as you mentioned, almost rushed for 1,000 yards a couple of seasons ago. That same year, he had 44 catches, so he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can probably give you 150, 175 productive carries and be that contributor on special teams. And maybe we're not giving Malik Sherrod enough credit, BJ, for Boise State playing in the Fiesta Bowl.
Malik Sherrod deserving more credit for Boise State playing in the Fiesta.
If Boise State doesn't kick off to him with 7 seconds to go in the first half at Fresno State last year and he doesn't house it, that might be a situation where Boise State wins that game and you kind of hold on to that current situation a little bit longer.
Interesting.
I mean, I really do. Going back, like that Fresno State game was the break. That was the tipping point. That
was a game when
absolutely the tipping point.
What's his name? McAllister transferred and that kind of stuff.
Well, and I even just mean, I think
Malik Sherrod's getting a lot of hate from Fresno fans on Twitter, and he even said in his commitment, like, you don't have to like it or respect it or something, but y'all gonna watch. Like, good for him, man. Like in the new day and age, like Alvaro Cardenas on Saturdays walking back into San Jose State to play a game there. Like that just is what happens now in college football. Like there's the in-conference transfers where because you had to sit out a year and just everything else was such a taboo and never going to happen. And now you're just plucking guys off, rivals. Malachi Williams we're going to get to from Idaho's coming down. Now you got Malik Sherrod transferring from a rival in Fresno, and which I do think like not playing every year is a little bit softened the quote unquote rivalries that Boise State has. You're not playing every single year. It's a little different, I think, than maybe it was 10, 15 years ago. But it's a new era in college football with the transfer portal and NIL, and Malik Sherrod saw his best possibility and best thing for playing time was to come to Boise. Now, do we have to get, he's now technically the first player since Ashton Jeanty, even in a photo, to wear number 2. Do we really need to? We can find another, 22 or something. Let's get 12. Let's get him maybe not 12. That's Jim McMillan. But can we do a different? Does he need to be wearing number 2 so soon? I don't know if that's going to stick. Probably just for the photo, I would hope. But that where it was kind of funny. Boise State fans were like, "No, love it, but get out of 2." Fresno State fans were ripping him for transferring over here. Dude just tried to post a picture, and he was a happy day for him. But that the whole in-conference transfer thing, I think we're going to continue to see more and more of.
You're right. This one probably stings a little bit though if you're a Fresno State fan, just because it is a rival, and it's not like Fresno State's getting left behind in the Mountain West. And I know that Malik Sherrod will be gone by the time that the Pac-12 thing begins, but at the same time, like it's a rival that's had success that's also going off into the Pac-12, and Malik Sherrod sees value playing at Boise State. But, tip of the cap to James Montgomery, as you kind of said a little bit earlier here, BJ, that, they spent time together at Fresno State, and we've seen Boise State backs be very, very productive. If I'm Malik Sherrod looking for one last, great season to either cap your college career and maybe give you a shot to get into the NFL, like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that here. And let's face it, like, I've kind of been thinking about this over the last few weeks as I look up Ashton Jeanty stats and things like that.
Yeah.
Ashton Jeanty has ruined the running back stat line for Boise State for eternity. Like what he's done is like it, man, I think the world of Sire Gaines. I do. And maybe, by the time he's a junior that he can do something like this, but, all these 200-yard games, these yards after contact, these 70, 60, 50, whatever yard runs. He's put himself in such a distant category when it comes to school records that, he's pretty much ruined it for everybody moving forward. He's going to have over 5,000 rushing yards probably by the time, all is said and done and things like that. So he's kind of ruined that. But this is a great situation for Boise State, and it's funny because they really do kind of operate in silence for the most part when it comes to these transfer portal additions. BJ, it's like maybe a little bit of an inkling about Malik Sherrod, but for the most part, it's like it's almost a done deal before we or anybody really even hears about it. And it's funny because the transfer portal. Go for it.
I was just going to say, speaking of which, On3 is also showing that a Tulsa running back, Lloyd Avent, committed on 12/23 yesterday. No announcement yet on Twitter, but another potential running back as a freshman at Tulsa last year put up some numbers. People are worried, Dylan Riley. Are you pretty confident that Breezy, Riley, and Gaines are all back next year? Would you say percentages are maybe one of them gets a better offer somewhere? And if this is, and I did see this, I'm not saying Tyler's tweet is incorrect, but I saw the on-3 thing, but if that is correct and eventually Lloyd Avant commits to Boise State, what do you make of that? 2 transfer running backs.
I think you get them on, opposite ends of their eligibility, right? You got one that's almost out of it and another guy that is on the front side of it. It does crowd the running back room a little bit, I would say, if that is true with the Tulsa running back. Because Dylan Riley would be, I guess technically Dylan's going to be a sophomore because he has exceeded the cap in terms of that. Sire Gaines is going to be a redshirt freshman. You have Breezy Dubar that all of a sudden is now an upperclassman. But, I think I'm not too concerned about Dylan. Like, I think Dylan's back. I really feel the same about Breezy. That one probably can change. But that's pure speculation on my part because I think Breezy likes it here. I think the Boise State likes him. I think that when you look at this last season, what's that?
You just got to stay healthy. I mean, he went into the
exactly.
year start on Sire Gaines, and if Breezy Dubar doesn't miss most of fall camp with an injury, like I'm not sure Sire Gaines gets the opportunity to run for 100 yards in the first game. Like I think people kind of forget that Breezy was ahead of him going into the season.
You're probably right on that. I just Sire's special for sure. Oh, yeah. I think that when we look back and we reflect on the season for Breezy, it really kind of just because of the current rules in college football that allow somebody that's unhappy or needs to find a situation to go find it. Yeah. But this really was like I don't think it really mattered where Breezy played this year. Like this was just going to kind of be like what God intended for a season, if you will. Like he just had some adversity and he got injured, then he got healthy, then he got injured, and then he got healthy, and he couldn't stay healthy, and that just kind of is what it is. And he'll need to make a jump this offseason though, for sure. And I think that that one of the more transparent, honest things that Dirk Cutter, who's a very transparent, honest guy, prior to that Wyoming game where Breezy scored the go-ahead touchdown, which was a big carry that helped Boise State get to the Fiesta Bowl, right? But as he was kind of telling us about that, he said that there were times in the season where Breezy be in and he was more inclined to call passes because he wasn't fully trustworthy in Breezy. I mean, that just kind of is what it is. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And let's face it, folks, like, because of the magnitude of the bowl game that Boise State's playing in, a lot of these guys are holding on. But you're going to have to hold your breath for a week or so after the season because the transfer portal remains open for the guys playing in these games. And unfortunately, it could also backfire on Boise State. You want them to make the playoff run and go win the frickin' national championship for sure. But you're having Boise State's best competitors and best athletes play on these spotlight stages where, I mean, if you don't think these SEC programs aren't going to be watching, I mean, I don't want to unfairly name names because this is just naming Boise State's best players. This is nothing that I've heard connection with anywhere, but like, they're going to be watching the Jaden Virgin Morgans and the Cage Caseys and the Ty Benefields. Like they're going to be watching all these guys on these massive stages. And there was once a former SEC coach that told me that even when a guy like Ashton Genty initially turned down transferring to stay at Boise State for much less, his reaction was just like, oh, they're just going to try to find a way to double the offer by the time the spring portal opens because they don't like to be told no. So this is far from unfortunately it's far from over. We've seen more impact additions and subtractions, I'd say. But, the moment Boise State either wins or is bounced from the college football playoff, it's going to be hanging on time for about a week or so.
Yep, no doubt. When that game, the only game in the country on that night, you're going to have any coach sitting there, oh, man, who's this left tackle? Texting his recruiting guy, oh, get some stuff on him. Oh, what do you think we can offer him? Like, yeah, they're just going to be scouting the game basically to see who it is. Chris Casey says, Jay, the flattest of all flat brim hats today. That is a pretty flat.
I left it in the car, ran out and grabbed it right before the start of the show, to be honest with you.
Don't know if you watched any of the game yesterday, but Alexander points out it was a fraudulent slip on the graphics for Fresno State.
Oh, I did not see. How long was that up for?
Numerous times. Anytime they'd score a touchdown, anytime Bulldogs was supposed to pop up, it wasn't Bulldogs that popped up for the most part.
Whoops. What a game, by the way. What even was that?
The new goalpost already causing problems down there. 3 field goals.
Yeah, I feel bad for that kicker, man, especially the final one. That was just like a straight down the chute, 35-yard gimme, and he couldn't put it through the uprights. That was, a heck of a game. And then the best part about it was like in overtime, it was like Northern Illinois got to the end of their season and they ran out of plays. Like they got through every play in their playbook and they had like 3 plays left and they were all trick plays because they basically only ran trick plays in overtime.
Yeah.
They even ran like 2 halfback passes or something like that. Like it was, one didn't work, the other one did. Yeah, I don't know. That was a good finish overall, though. I'd say. I mean, it was about as the first 58 minutes. Were I don't know if they were the most entertaining in the world, but the last 2 in overtime were pretty darn entertaining. I just don't know why. And I always have I kind of watch the Washington guys because that's where I grew up. But their redshirt freshman quarterback, Joshua Woods, he grew up not far from, my hometown in Tacoma, Washington, played at Graham High School and led him to a 4A title. And like, he was clearly the better quarterback yesterday. And they still kept doing the rotating quarterback thing, which I did not understand that. But either way, Northern Illinois, congratulations. Enjoy your potatoes.
I never understand in overtime if the other team scores first with the new rules where you have to start going for 2 in the second overtime. Then in the third overtime, it's literally just 2-point conversions. Why you don't at the end of the first overtime just go for 2? You've got the position now. You get this 2-point conversion, you win the game.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot more on it where there's just 1 2-point conversion to win it in the end of the first overtime and get over with it. And but congrats to Northern Illinois. Wasn't much of a crowd there. I hate to see that. I know the weather wasn't great to start with. It ended up being a nice day.
It wasn't bad though. Like it was actually sunny by the time kickoff rolled around.
When we walked in I knew it was going to be rough when we had our Spencer Danielson press conference and I pull into the parking lot, literally 42 minutes or something on the clock for the game. And it looked like a December day without school in session in the park. It was empty spots everywhere. I thought I was going to have a tough time finding a place to park. And even when I walked out after the press conference and it's the middle of the first quarter of the game and the parking lot behind on the east side of the stadium was literally empty. I felt bad for them. I mean, they don't do it for the attendance. As everybody knows, like bowl games make their money on sponsorships, TV dollars, everything else. But I don't know what they announced it as, but there couldn't have been more than 6,000 or 7,000 people in there. Probably.
No, there were not very many there. Yeah,
like a high school state championship game kind of crowd, to be honest.
No, not even that, bud. Like elite, the high schools when it's two local teams, they'll fill the entire lower bowl, like on both sides. And I couldn't. There wasn't the luxury seats had people in them up in the stucco and stuff.
Those were full. Yep.
But there wasn't like when I looked back when I walked out and looked over at that side of the stadium. There wasn't a single human in like this in the 200 level, if you will. Not one human. Like I thought usually there's like a little like pocket or something. Not one human.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. They don't do that for attendance. That's just kind of bonus, and that's why.
I mean, in fairness, like I like college football, but I'm not sure like I would pay to go watch Northern Illinois and Fresno State. Like it just unfortunately the way it is, and you wonder. Johnny and Prater asked me this, and I want to move on. I got a couple other topics, but you do wonder with the new format of the bowls, is that going to become maybe a Mountain West Pac-12 type thing, or would the Pac-12 have any affiliation with this bowl to get keep a familiar type team in this game, or what the affiliation becomes when this is all redone in 2026? Because the MAC, I mean, of all the conferences that are used to playing in cold weather, whatever, like the MAC, I guess is a team you can do, but they just never bring a lot of fans. And if you're a Mountain West team, there's not a ton of appeal to go to Boise when you've either already done it that year or have done it recently. So we'll see what happens. I like I said, I know it's not about attendance, but it was a little sad just to see the whole local bowl really struggle. But there you go. You turn on social media in the fourth quarter and overtime, and everybody in the country was watching at least at the end of the game. So they got what they wanted in terms of the viewership and all that. And the coach's comment about best dump of his career or something, talking about the fry bath, I guess, that got thrown on him. But and then Spuddy Buddy getting lifted up. I mean, I saw Nate Lowry, our friend, with a tweet, just that's what all bowl season is all about.
Yeah. It was a cool little scene after the game. I'll definitely say that. You do have to wonder about the future affiliation because even, Northern Illinois is now going to be a Mountain West team and Fresno State's not. Like, so secretly in the, the dark
Forgot about that.
back offices of the Mountain West studios, they give a little fist pump because they their future member got a victory over their soon to be former member, if you will. I don't think that's the way that it works, but I will say this though. I wasn't real quick, BJ. One thing I am excited about the Pac-12, and I kind of realized it even tonight because the Hawaii Bowl is going to take place tonight. For the most part, the affiliations and the dates of bowl games in the Pac-12 should be better than some of them in the Mountain West, especially the destinations at the very least. So that'll be good.
How they redesign all that, but if you look at current Pac-12 bowls and if you try to keep some of those together, the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, you get a bowl in LA. There could be some nice.
Well, even Vegas, the Pac-12 ties there.
I think they want power teams. I don't know how that would work out if they'd be, but yeah, we'll see. I mentioned Malachi Williams from Idaho. They got Freeney from Arizona, a couple other additions. As you said, a very weird time of year, but I want to get your take on this JUCO rule in a minute, but just any other final to wrap up the transfer part, any other Malachi Williams, an intriguing ad from Idaho, but I know they're still working behind the scenes. They've had a ton of visitors the last couple of weeks, and part of this is they don't know who exactly is leaving. They got to have backup plans ready, all this kind of stuff. But I did think the Williams kid from Idaho was an intriguing addition.
Yeah, that's actually something that is a little interesting, BJ, because they don't know who exactly is leaving. So you're asking kids to commit, without exactly knowing what their status or position would be on the depth chart moving forward. And then you're asking them to be patient. I just don't know how patient kids can be when it comes to the transfer portal and stuff anymore. So that's why I would like to see them, figure this out now that there's a college football playoff. It'd be hard to move the portal window back because, as you mentioned, not that long ago, the semester starts in January. And once the semester starts, that's kind of when you have to roll with it. But it really. I
also don't think you don't want to just do a spring portal window and then have kids that know they're leaving stick around in spring ball. And I don't know, that would be a weird dynamic too.
Yeah, it would, but they gotta have some real conversations here and figure that out because it's a distraction when it shouldn't be a distraction. Teams should be ready to go. You shouldn't have to be forced to leave a roster because you want to go take an official visit to UTEP. That shouldn't be the way that this is done, but unfortunately that is the way that it's done.
All right, I want to thank a couple sponsors real quick. Western Collective, our studio sponsor, the Horseshoe Golden Ale, Orange Chaos Seltzer. If you're looking for a spot to watch the Fiesta Bowl, head to Western Collective's Brewery in Garden City. Fiesta Bowl watch party, former players, great food and drink specials, and a portion of the proceeds goes to benefit the Horseshoe Collective. That's at Western Collective's Brewery in Garden City for the Fiesta Bowl. RowPaint.com, our title sponsor. All your painting needs, check out our title sponsor, RowPaint.com. Concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. Hit up the official paint and coatings company at Boise State Athletics, RowPaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile eBranch online banking right there in your smartphone. So happy the Raines family made the switch to ICCU. Just wish we had done it sooner. You may like your bank. You'll like it better. Make the switch today, ICCU.com. Matt Bauscher Real Estate. When you buy a home with Matt or sell a home with Matt, you get to meet everybody in that picture. The personalized service is unmatched. BauscherRealEstate.com. He's part of the Boise State home team now. I know everybody has 5 friends that are realtors, but I promise you'll like what you get. Consider using Matt Bauscher online at BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. Save up to 40% off at the checkout line using their Skip app. Locations in the Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, surrounding states. Just great people. Check them out online, shop Ridley's.com. Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Check them out online if you want that spa, you want that sauna, you want that pool table for the game room. They got you covered online at thespateam.com. The weather is getting colder. The ice, the snow, it's all coming. Make sure you have a vehicle for the seasons, for the conditions at Lithia Ford of Boise. Their Get Holiday Ready sales event going on now. Save up to $12,000 on the new 2024 Ford Expedition Limited, up almost $9,000 in savings on the 2024 Ford F-150 STX Super Crew, and of course the 2024 all-new Ford Bronco Badlands. You can save $8,500 on that as well. Check them out online, view their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. And also Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com, SON Management, the Nicolason family. If you're looking for a job, highly recommend Taco Bell. Check them out online, TacoBellWorks.com. Great promotional benefits, free food while you work, half the wages after your shift. And oh yeah, the food's pretty darn good as well. Check them out online, TacoBellWorks.com. We're hoping on the 30th we can get Jay Tust over for a live shot at the Turf Paradise racetrack. It'll be from noon to 4. Hope you guys will join us. Ticket sales are going really well for this. Use promo code BNN20. You get 20% off. First time in thoroughbred racing history. They'll be racing on the blue turf. It's called a special name for one of the championship races, the Bronco Nation Stakes. And if Jay Tust shows up for this, I will allow him to come with me down to the winner's circle to hand out the trophy. I don't know what else could get Jay to come, but if we can let him hand out the trophy in the winner's circle, maybe even take a ride, on the winning horse around the track or something. I don't know. But Jay Tust, hopefully KTVB. But I know Johnny and Prater are doing their show out there. A lot of former players. We now have Leighton Vander Esch confirmed as an attendee, as well as Austin Pettis, Shea McClellan, Alex Guerrero. A lot of others are coming as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this. I'll drop the link in the chat here momentarily, but you get 20% off if you and tickets are only like $25. It's really cheap. And every beer that gets sold at this event, they're donating $1 back to the Horseshoe Collective at Boise State. So if you're looking for something to do the day before the game down in Phoenix, the official block party pep rally for Boise State is 4 to 7. This is noon to 4. Come out before, hang out, see some horse racing history. And even if you don't like betting on the horse races, Dr. J, Julius Irving, some other NFL stars as well are going to be there. Just kind of a star-studded event for the National Team Thoroughbred Racing League. And it's going to be a cool event. Looking forward to this. And I'm going to be hanging out with my family and others and having a good time. And as I said, Johnny and Prater doing their show out there. So, Jay, were you a big, I got in on the very end. I think I went to 1 year of Les Bois Park when I moved here before they got rid of it. It wasn't Churchill Downs by any mean, but it was a fun thing to maybe go out to once in a while. They would always have me go do the Kentucky Derby story one year when Gary Stevens came out of retirement to race. And I always liked going out there, but I have not been back to a horse track probably in a decade. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to getting back to this and being a part of history with the first ever race, the Bronco Nation Stakes on a blue turf.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. Les Bois was awesome. If you really want to get the honest answer, though, you probably need to call Johnny and phone a friend for his answer, because I bet you he even was more about it than me. But it was fun to go out there on Derby Day or whatever. And no, it wasn't the Kentucky Derby, but there are people who would dress up and drinking mint and juleps and all that stuff. And it was way more fun than I thought it would be when I initially heard about it. So it's unfortunate that it's not around, but apparently, they got you covered in Arizona before the bowl game. So
yeah, so hopefully folks will, if you're looking for something to do, it's supposed to be like 70 degrees and sunny, nice day. Come on out. And even if you don't want to bet on the horses, hang out with, like I said, Johnny, myself, and all the former NFL players and college players. I think Larry Fitzgerald might be there, some other former players that live in the Phoenix area. So going to be a cool event. Would love to meet a lot of you guys out there. All right, Jay, the new rule, I'm curious your thoughts on this because you're kind of in tune, with a lot of what's going on. But the new rule that they it's funny, the NCAA nowadays, they don't fight stuff. They just put out these waivers right away when they get challenged on stuff. And at least for the 1 year here, as a stopgap, they said anybody that would have been out of eligibility this year, if this was your senior year and you're about to be done, but you did play in a JUCO previously, and they're saying right now it doesn't matter if it was 1 or 2 or 3 years, whatever. If you're almost out of eligibility and you spent time at actually they called it non-NCAA, so like even a NCAA, NAIA, any level that wasn't Division I the whole time. I guess FCS that would count though, because that's NCAA. Mm-hmm. So. Any junior college or NAIA, I guess. But anyway, long story short, even if you have 3 years, they're giving you 1 for next year right now. They're saying you are eligible next year to play, and that applies to Cam Camper and also Amarion McCoy. And there may be some other players like further down the roster that I'm not thinking about, but the 2 star players I think this impacts, unless I'm forgetting somebody, is McCoy and Camper. Jay, knowing those guys the way you do, any chance either of those guys elects to come back? I think McCoy has a chance to get drafted, or at least be a draft, guy that would get a chance. I think some people that I've talked to, some scouts at the games and stuff, like him as a late round fringe pick, camp guy. I don't know if coming back another year would help his case or not. Unfortunately, as you know, Jay, sometimes coming in the NFL, you come back, that doesn't necessarily help your case in terms of getting older. But Camper or McCoy, what's your thoughts on either of them coming back next year?
I think it would certainly benefit both of them to come back, in all honesty. But they have decisions to make, and they have to figure out where they want to go with this. It feels like, especially Amarion, like he's been here for a couple of years, but it also just feels like he just got here, right? And so, this level of football is so vastly different from the JUCO level, and that's not any disrespect for guys that have to go that route. But I mean, you heard Amarion say it when he first got here. He gained like 20 some odd pounds in a pretty short amount of time, just because he had nutritionists and he had a weight room plan, and people were taking care of him and feeding him and things like that. And so to see those guys get a benefit from an extra year of eligibility, I don't know if it was meant for the Vanderbilt quarterback necessarily, because he has been around for a while, but for a guy like Amarion, I think is good. And even you look at Cam Camper, man, he's been injured most, like a big portion of his career. I really like Camper, and man, that if you get him back and Latrell back next year, I mean, you basically bring back the entire wide receiver room. And Camper could, depending on how long Boise State plays, Camper could threaten 1,000 yards this season, and he's done it on not like a huge volume of catches for that matter either. So it would be pretty cool to see him get an extra year of eligibility and be able to come back and run it back with Boise State one more time.
And Blake's saying, could you play 4 years at NAIA and then 4 years at NCAA? Well, not
No,
right now.
not now.
But apparently what some are saying is those years shouldn't count. So theoretically, yes. I mean, in the long term, not with this ruling right here, but if they were to say that none of those counts or whatever, I don't, theoretically, none of your time before you get to like a Boise State or an NCAA school would count. So I don't know how they're going to do that long term.
I don't know if I don't love, like, you can't let a guy develop and, become 22 years old in an NAI school and then all of a sudden get 4 additional years at a Boise State or something like that. Like, I don't like it, all the eligibility, but like there's got to be a happy median somewhere along the way where you can maybe get 1 or maybe 2. I kind of like the 1,
And
I feel like that's fair.
Ross Dellinger's story is which the Chris Peterson rule or whatever, where they're getting closer to just going to no red shirts and you just get 5 years to play 5 years.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine too, man. Like I agree with that too. Yep, I agree with that too. But it's some kids have to go the JUCO route because that's the route they have to go.
Sure.
And then they get to the D1 level, and it's not an apples to apples experience. It's just not. So the fact that Amarion McCoy or Cam Camper could benefit with 1 additional year of eligibility this next year, I would be for it.
But you could have a situation, as Lyle Smith says here, college football is changing. You could have a team farm school. You could theoretically have Boise State send one of their coaches or hire someone at C of I and send their 20 red shirts to go play the fall season at C of I and be coached by the C of I staff, but they could also have a tie to them or have a couple of coaches that they pay. We'll pay your OC this year. We're going to bring our guy down to coach C of I this year. We're going to pay for your OC and your DC and bring guys down. And theoretically, instead of redshirting and sitting the bench and not getting any game action all year, you could have your 20 red shirts, right down the road in Caldwell playing a full season and getting game action and all that kind of in a AA or AAA setting, and then not have it count and then get to come up and play, the previous year at Boise State.
No, I guess that would be interesting. I would worry more about the power schools. I don't mean the Power 4. I just mean like the schools like Ohio State that have a $73 million football budget, which is far greater than Boise State's entire athletic department budget. I would worry about how they would take advantage of that rule, because you're right, that you could certainly find a loophole there and have a little feeder system. And, one of the most unfortunate things about playing at the JUCO level, and I mean, you go down to California and see these guys, and it's 8 dudes living in a 2-bedroom apartment just so they could play JUCO football, and the apartment's like 40 minutes away from school, but they take a bus because that's what they have to do, because that's all they can afford in California. So all of a sudden now, if you were able to, subsidize those guys' living habits or efforts or whatever, and now you're right, some of your prized prospects get to go play somewhere, and you're taking care of them by, getting them their own hotel or own apartment or whatever. That would be a very interesting development in this whole situation.
All right, going to wrap up the show here in just a few minutes. A couple of tidbits from Spencer Danielson. People are asking about Alexander Tubner and some of the injury updates here. We'll get to that in just about a minute or so. I want to remind you, transportation compliance service, transcomservice.com. Check them out. If you're looking for a new job, how about the trucking industry? You can do that at transcomservice.com. All your permits, DOT, overweight, everything you need to get into the trucking industry. It's a local company helping folks all over the world. Get more information online, transcomservice.com. The Please Count Us Out shirts. I have a soundbite from Spencer Danielson I was going to play. We'll see if we have time, but please count us out. The shirts are in orange. Someone else asked, what's the color for the Fiesta Bowl? Orange. Fans are supposed to wear orange to the Fiesta Bowl, and the blue and orange store has tons of I was in there yesterday getting some last-minute stuff. Please count us out. The shirts are awesome. They're orange. They have the orange. They also have orange, Fiesta Bowl logo shirts, the schedule shirt, how they got here on the right there. That's in orange also. So if you're looking for some last-minute Christmas gifts, the Blue and Orange store has you covered, theblueandorangestore.com. Tons. I mean, it was just packed yesterday. I got to talk to Travis about increasing his subscription here, Jay. I think the Fiesta Bowl may have helped out Travis and they were doing great yesterday. So all kidding aside, get in there. There's a reason they're doing great, because they have hats, polos, sweats, like just the biggest selection of stuff. So get into the Blue and Orange store. Check them out. All your Boise State gear. And I said this last time, but he heard the Please Count Us Out thing. He turned it into a t-shirt. Spencer Danielson got a hold of it and wore it. And then so many players liked it that the whole team ordered them. So they have 140 Please Count Us Out shirts that they'll be sporting around for the Fiesta Bowl next week. So if you're looking for some gear for the Fiesta Bowl, look no further than the Blue and Orange store. Hey, coming in January and February, Jackson's is giving a hot dog and a soda for $2 when the Broncos score 70 points. So they're averaging almost 80. So that should be doing most games. 70 points when they score with a hot dog and a soda at Jackson's. And don't forget, they still have their football promotions going on as well. If Ahmed Hassanin can get a sack, you can get a 91-cent coffee or fountain drink at Jackson's. And that is with the Let's Go reward. Speaking of food, Lean Feast, check them out, leanfeastmeridian.com. They take care of the football team, the basketball team. 5 days in the refrigerator. You pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes. It's good to go, and it's perfect for folks on the go or working in office. You don't want to have to cook. Check them out online, leanfeastmeridian.com. 10,000 plus combinations. They're all healthy. Leanfeastmeridian.com and speakpipe.com/BNN. Check them out. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail. We had a great one yesterday from Roy talking basketball. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play them throughout the shows, and it's brought to you by Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 20 years, whether it's a re-roof or repair and inspection, a free estimate. Great crew over there at Signature Roofing, and we appreciate mysignatureroofing.com. Those guys, when we were in New York, literally just sent me a Venmo and said, Merry Christmas, go have a nice dinner on us in Times Square. Just great people. Love them over there at Signature Roofing, and we appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. And don't forget, got to be a yearly subscriber. Speaking of basketball, jump on in as a yearly subscriber, and you're eligible for the VIP basketball experience. Private jet trip for 2. You get to go to Las Vegas for the game in February. Stay a night at Circa. It's going to be awesome. And that's brought to you by Ridley's Family Markets and some of our other sponsors. So if you're already a yearly subscriber, you're entered. If you're not, jump in now and you'll be entered to win that trip. Jay, it sounds like Alexander Tubner definitely will play in some capacity. Not sure he'll play, 80 snaps or whatever, but that's certainly a good sign for him. It's sounding less and less likely for Sire Gaines. And I'll be honest, at this point, when you haven't played in 3 months and it's this close to whether you can play or not, I'm not sure it's worth pushing, number one. And number two, I'm not sure you would, expect him to be a major factor in this game either way.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, now we are to the point where they've been giving Ashton 30, 35 carries for the last, 6, 7, 8 weeks. That will not change against Penn State. So it probably would have been more beneficial to have him back against, a Wyoming, a San Jose State. I know those are actually 2 pretty close games, but it would have been beneficial to have him kind of at that point in the season, probably more so than than the Fiesta Bowl for that matter. But yeah, we'll see. Either way, it definitely seems like really good news trending in the right direction for Alexander Tubner and his status on the game. And they could certainly use Tubes. They definitely could use him. You know, snap count and things like that are still to be determined, but anything is better than nothing when it comes to Tubner.
And I'll keep this going. But final thing for you, Jay, and I know we'll probably have one more. I don't know about game day, but I think one more time with you at least before Friday, if we can, before the Fiesta Bowl. But just your thoughts on the matchup, your final thoughts on this game, how you're feeling at this point. I said on yesterday's show, like, and this will come back to bite me. I'm sure they're going to clip this off. Whatever. Penn State locker room or their fans, whatever. But and maybe this is a homer take, whatever. But I really like the matchup for Boise State. I think everything's trending in their direction. I'm going to play this bite from Spencer Danielson in a minute after I let you go. I just think they're feeding into this. And again, I'm wrong often, so I'm probably going to be wrong. But I just have a weird feeling Boise State's going to win this game. I really do.
Whenever Boise State goes and plays in the Fiesta Bowl, they always have that secret little counter punch or trick play or whatever. So what does that look like? You know, this time around, and you know, not that it matters. He's the guy's he's averaging led an offense that's number 3 in the nation in scoring right now. But by the way, in that, what was it, the Notre Dame game? Notre Dame was actually ahead of Boise State in points per game, but they dropped slightly behind them because they only scored 27 points in the opening round. But you know, Dirk hasn't called a lot of trick plays this year, so. You know, does he want to bust one out in the Fiesta Bowl? We'll wait and see. But, you know, I worry about Penn State's pass rushers. But one thing that Boise State's done a really good job at this year is getting the ball out quickly and not taking sacks. And so if you can neutralize those guys and run the football, they got a shot, man. And, you know, I don't know if any team left in the call. Now, are there better teams? I'd be naive to say no. Like, there are talented rosters out there, but I don't know if there's a team left in the college football playoff that does one thing as well as Boise State does, and that's running the football. Like, with Ashton Genty, like, I just don't – that's not to say that nobody does it well. I'm not saying that at all, but, like, man, 2,500 rushing yards in a season. Your offensive line is finally healthy. They absolutely have a chance, man. And I'm not buying into the, you know, being 11 to 14 point underdogs or whatever, wherever the spread sits right now.
Now, Penn State would say they're number 8 stopping the run. So
I get it. Oregon was pretty good at stopping the run, and Ashton still kind of tuned them up, right? So can he hit that big play? And another thing too, I mean, this gets back to Ashton and, you know, earlier in the season when he was fresher and healthier and things like that. So, you know, I expect to see a very good Ashton Genty. I expect to see a Penn State's defense absolutely sold out to stop the run for sure. But I think that they'll find a way. I'm really curious to see what that little added wrinkle is to, you know, keep Penn State off balance enough to where you can run the ball a little more effectively.
Well, I want to hear from Spencer Danielson, but Jay, appreciate your time.
Merry Christmas, brother.
Meal, the whole crew. I don't know your dog's name. Sorry.
Wrigley.
Oh, yeah, Wrigley.
Don't disrespect Wrigley. That's
right. My bad. Merry Christmas to the Tust family, and appreciate you and appreciate them for allowing you to give up some of your mornings to do these. And hope you guys have a great couple of days. And it's before we know, we're going to be heading down here this weekend to Phoenix. And heading to San Jose first for basketball, and then Phoenix, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this, and hopefully Boise State can keep it going. We can cover this team, you know, for a few more weeks.
Be honest, BJ. Your big bro's in town.
Little bro.
Oh, your little bro. Excuse me. Your little bro's in town. How often did he beat you up around Christmas? You know, you guys get the toy both of you want. I'm assuming he could take you.
My mom is also in town, and a couple times my boys have been fighting. She said it's very reminiscent of previous Christmases. So. We don't need to say who won. I won.
Nellie's kind of a scrapper, though, so.
Appreciate it, Jay.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. Tell them all I said hi, BJ.
I will, man. Hey, Spencer Danielson, people continue to count them out. Yeah, he says bring it on.
Our mentality here, not just for this game playing the Fiesta Bowl, but that's what Boise State's been built on. And we got to earn our right through our prep to go play our best against one of the top football teams in the country. But I believe in our team. And that's why we talk about, please count us out. People do. Media or people count us out, because I know how we're going to work, and I know we're going to work to play our absolute best on the 31st. So if nobody gives us a chance, if the point spread continues to grow, whatever. And I tell people too, like, hey, use this as motivation. This team doesn't need any more motivation. Like, we've been in playoff football since September, and it's 1 week at a time, working to play our best, counting us out. Oh, you can't keep this up, or what's going to happen? And our guys continue to work, continue to do what's required of them, and continue to improve every week. So all the outside noise of people counting us out, awesome. We've been with the outside noise of everybody saying how great we are. On either side, you got to block the outside noise, and I believe that. Like, please count us out. I mean, that's what Boise State football has been built on, is people thinking we can't do something, and we work our tails off to find a way to prove people wrong. And that's what I believe in our team. Wherever and we use the phrase, put the ball down. Like, it doesn't matter the stadium, doesn't matter what fans are there. Like, on the 31st, put the ball down. We're going to be ready.
And I've seen you kind of like some of those tweets and things when people say that. I mean, are you sending out daily, text to the team with that stuff? Do you play? I mean, I know you say you block it out, but are you making sure the players are aware of some of this?
Yeah, I think it's just, for me, with no different from the times that we were picked to beat a team by, a ton of points or whatever the game is. When we talk about outside noise, like, I'm very direct with our players on what is going on. Not because I don't want, if I'm not, they're going to fill in the gaps from outside sources, either family or media or anything. So I'm very direct with our team on what is about to happen. What do we expect from either the team we're playing, from the environment, from the media? And so we talk about those things like, hey, right now, nobody thinks you can win this game. Perfect. There's been games I said everybody thinks you're going to win, but you could still lose it very quickly. And so I'm very direct with our team on, hey, guys, nobody thinks you can win this game. Every single person in this team room, me included, has been counted out in their life. You can talk about it. You can feel bad. You can use it to motivate you. At the end of the day, all that matters is the work you put in, and that's what we have to do through the next 8 days. If we do that and we continue to focus on what matters, our work, we'll go play our best on the 31st. And once again, what I believe and what my message to the team is, your best is enough, and your best is required. And I believe if we can continue to focus on those things, we'll be able to play our best, and I know it's going to be enough. And I know Penn State's doing the same thing. And like I said, ton of respect for them on who they are as an entire program, not only over the years, but how they're playing right now. They're playing their best football. And so that's my message to our team is, for us, we have to earn the right to go play our best, and not when we go put the ball down on the 31st. Like, that started 2 weeks ago, and it's every single day how we prep and recover to play our best.
Well, there he is, Spencer Danielson, and if that doesn't fire you up as a Boise State fan, I'm not sure what will. And I think that continues to just feed right into Boise State's hands. All these people, they want to give them no chance, say they have no chance to win. Keep doing it. Like they said, keep counting them out. Like they're fine with it. Nobody wants to give them a chance. I was surprised the point spread was quite as high as it was. I thought maybe 6, 7, 8, but now that I'm seeing 11 and a half, just does seem a little high for me. I get it. Penn State's a really good team, but I just feel like people are undervaluing Boise State. I mean, I know some of their wins late in the season weren't like super pretty, and maybe that's why some people are they didn't have the style points in some games that people would have liked to see. So maybe that's why. But in the one game against the team in the field, they lost by 3 on a last-second field goal, and people want to just say, oh, that was week 2. Oregon's a different team. Well, Boise State's a different team too. So if they could do that back in week 2, what can they do now? So they got to get they got to get the Statue of Liberty in there. Like, come on, Dirk. I know he hasn't run a lot of trick plays this year, but like, you got to get some trick plays in there. And in particular, I think you need to see the Statue of Liberty has to make an appearance at some point. Maybe even if it's not at the end of the game, maybe just in the middle of the game. I still think maybe even the hook and ladder, like you can do that on a screen. And there's other ways to do a hook and ladder that maybe that's one that you'd go, nod to the pass and put it in the hook and ladder, but you got to have some sort of trick play in there if you're Dirk Cutter. So, I hope that they're working on that. But again, the team is off today. The team is off tomorrow. They will come back on Thursday, the 26th. They'll all fly back into town, and that is quote unquote Monday of a game week. So they'll be back on Monday of a game week, and then kind of have their Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practices of a normal week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And they will fly down to Phoenix on Saturday afternoon. Bronco Nation News will be at the airport for the team arrival. We'll have full videos. Bronco Nation News sending 3 people down to the Fiesta Bowl. Mike Sanford will be joining us for a lot of shows and pre- and post-game show live from the stadium. We will have Jaden Finch, our intern, part-time employee, a student at Boise State, down there at the team arrival and helping out with everything. I will be heading to San Jose on Friday night. We will cover the basketball game against San Jose State on Saturday. Pre-game, post-game from San Jose, the only local outlet that's heading to San Jose to cover the basketball game. We will be there, Bronco Nation News. So appreciate your subscription dollars for helping with that. And then we will fly from San Jose on Saturday night after the game down to Phoenix, and we'll be ready to go 8 a.m. on Sunday with the media day. They'll have media day Sunday morning, Penn State for an hour, and then Boise State for an hour. Every player on the roster and every coach I love the Fiesta Bowl. Every player and every coach is just spread out in a ballroom, and you can go talk to whoever you want to for an hour. So you better believe we're going to go ask Cam Camper and Marion McCoy about coming back for another year. We're going to ask some of these other players if they're getting hit up in the portal. I was trying to figure this out. Which player has the hardest name to spell? And I was looking through the roster. There's not a lot of options. Maybe Marco Notriani. I guess, but I was going to try to find the player with the hardest name to spell, maybe the coach with the hardest name to spell, and go around asking players to try to spell it. If you have any other funny questions that we could go ask some of these guys kind of in a fun media day setting, think about it and let me know. Just a fun question to ask a lot of these guys that could get them talking and get some good content instead of just the typical, what do you think of Penn State's defensive line? We'd like to have a little bit of fun with this. So someone's saying Ahmed Hassanin. That's a good one. I wonder if I think most people probably have an idea how to spell Hassanin, but maybe that might be worth trying. Ask some of the non-defensive linemen how you spell Ahmed Hassanin. We could try that. So if you have any other fun ideas for questions, we can go around the room on media day and ask some guys. Let me know. We'll email me or put it in the chat. I like that, Linda. Best Christmas gift. That's certainly a good one, but I was trying to come up with something that might be a little funnier, a little more off topic. But best Christmas gift certainly is a good one as well. Yeah, we'll have some fun with this at Media Day. Try to keep it a little more lighthearted instead of just a straight hour-long, as I said, questions about Penn State and all that kind of stuff. But certainly some topical questions of some of these guys that we're going to go ask as well. That will be Sunday, and then we'll have a show Sunday afternoon. We'll have Monday morning as the coaches press conference, and then we'll have the horse racing event. So full coverage coming up. No show tomorrow for Christmas. We will take the 25th off, but I'll be back on the 26th on Thursday with Johnny, and then Tust on Friday. And then, as I said, we're heading out Friday afternoon. Boise State, just a heads up, tomorrow they're continuing their Fiesta Bowl, the 26th on Thursday is the offensive day. So on the 26th here in Boise, Dirk Cutter will talk and 4 offensive players. And then on Friday, Eric Chenander will talk and 4 defensive players. That'll be, so Thursday will be offense, Friday defense, and then Saturday they fly down. A couple players will be available at the airport. There is a ton of media availability, so I love the Fiesta Bowl, and I'm guessing post-game maybe everyone's available too. I don't know how that's going to work, but super excited. Again, no show tomorrow. If you're wanting to know about Penn State, Nathan Carroll has an article up on the site telling you about Penn State, so you can go there and check that out. BroncoNationNews.com. Everything you need to know about Penn State and what the analytics and the PFF numbers and everything say about the game, about Penn State. Go check that out, BroncoNationNews.com. As I said, heading to San Jose for basketball, heading to Fiesta Bowl 3 deep, and hopefully heading to the Orange Bowl after that. But BNN 50 deal, $50 for a 1-year subscription. I know money is tight right now with the holidays and everything, but if you're able to help us out, BNN 50 deal, put in that promo code. You get $20 off your first year, so it's only $50 for a full year at BroncoNationNews.com. And we would love to have your support as we continue to bring coverage of football and basketball here on the road with the Broncos. We'll be at every road basketball game the rest of the season, assuming there's no conflict. Obviously, we can't get to Wyoming because we'll be at the Fiesta Bowl. But assuming there's no football conflict, we will be at every road basketball game the rest of the season. We're the only outlet that does that. So if you're able to help us out with all of our travel funds and everything, we'd appreciate that. And, Jay Tust comes on. He's a nice guy, but we also pay Jay Tust. We pay Mike Prater. We pay John Mallory. We pay Brad Bedell. All these guys. So appreciate you for those of you that have already subscribed and those of you that haven't. Hopefully this time of year, the coverage you're getting, you realize it's time to jump in. And if nothing else, you can give yourself a lottery ticket there, so to speak, and have a chance at the private jet trip for 2. We are heading to Las Vegas for the basketball game in February, and all yearly subscribers, as part of our subscriber appreciation giveaways, we will give away a trip for two to a random subscriber on a private jet for the basketball game. And so all you got to do is be a yearly subscriber, and you're eligible for that. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. My kids are ready to open some presents. We got family in town that's leaving early in the morning, so we're going to do some presents today on the 24th, and then obviously Santa Claus hopefully will come tomorrow morning. But hope you guys get to spend some time with family today. Hope you get to get out to church and remember the reason for tonight and tomorrow and everything that comes with it. And so appreciate everybody for giving us part of your day here on Christmas Eve. Now go get out of work and go spend the rest of it with your family and your close friends or whoever you would like to choose to be with today, and get out to your candlelight service if you can, and hopefully everybody has a great couple of days and gets some great gifts and has a great time. And then we'll on the morning of the 26th, Thursday, it'll be a Monday morning, so to speak, of game week, and we'll dive back in with coverage, getting you ready for the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State and Penn State. It is coming up in a week from today. Hard to believe it is already a week from today. Appreciate everybody. Again, happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you so much. You've made another fun year for Bronco Nation News. All your comments, all your questions, even the ones that want to criticize me or whatever, that's fine too. That's the reason that we have a job, because you're still watching and reading. And so appreciate all you guys, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's been a fun year. Let's keep it rolling. And here's for Boise State, hopefully keeping this thing going for a little while longer, because this has been a fun team to cover, a fun team to talk about, and it'd be something if we could keep this thing going past the Fiesta Bowl. So thank you guys. Seriously, you've made it a better Christmas for me and my family, because of here we are as the 3-year anniversary of Bronco Nation News. It's been pretty cool to see this thing grow, and it's because of all the sponsors you see back here, others that aren't on here, whether it's Jackson's or Taco Bell or Western Collective, and we got to get this board updated. It's been fun, and it's thanks to our sponsors, thanks to our subscribers, and all of you guys that hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, give us your hard-earned money for a subscription. We appreciate it. Hopefully you're seeing a return on your investment in terms of the coverage that we're putting together, and we're going to continue to push forward here with BNN, getting ready for the Fiesta Bowl and then into the new year with what comes next. So appreciate you guys. Again, Merry Christmas. Go spend some time with your family. Have a good couple days. We'll talk to you Thursday morning, the 26th, 9 a.m. as we dive back into the Fiesta Bowl coverage. Have a great couple of days. Merry Christmas. And we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. You can subscribe at bronconationnews.com. We've got a couple of stories up there as well. Don't forget to use that promo code BNN50 deal and get that discount. And we'll talk to you in a couple of days. Merry Christmas from Bronco Nation News and online at bronconationnews.com.